right, so we have 10-15 minutes to ask questions and begin a discussion with Dr. Joseph today. Is there anybody who would like to break the ice and
yes,
ask
I
a
would like
question?
to break the ice.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joseph, for a very informative talk. I will say something which I don't very often say in public. I'm an agnostic. Even though I was raised in the Catholic religion, I became an agnostic when I was very young, 16, 17, etc. But I'm still very interested. I've always been very interested in religions, in the law and mythologies, and I'm still very attached to the Judeo-Christian tradition for historical, cultural, and artistic reasons, etc. So I am a bit interested in theology, and I thought that perhaps we would hear about what I read in the description, the Haitianization of Christianity. Now, these days, we hear a lot about interfaith dialogues, as you know. You may have seen not Pope Francis, I don't think it was, maybe it was at Ground Zero, I can't remember, the ceremony, the interfaith ceremony when he was here. So that was very beautiful in many ways, but I couldn't help thinking that each of these people, in their heart of hearts, was probably convinced that he or she had the true religion, etc. And suddenly everybody, sang together, chanted together, like there was a Hindu gentleman who seemed to have perhaps put aside the fact that Hinduism is polytheistic, etc. So, from the point of view of culture and social interaction, all that, this is very good, I don't doubt it. In the same way as for Haiti, no one knows what happens in the heart of hearts of people, and I'm pretty sure that some kind of syncretic phenomena may have happened and still happens between Christianity and Vodou, and also cultural camouflage, as you know. For instance, Erzuli appears under the features of the Virgin Mary at times, and in times of persecution, it may have been a kind of mask, etc. But if you consider Voodoo theology as compared to Christian theology, do you really think that they can meet? I have the impression that they cannot. Now, you reminded us that there is a Godhead, probably in Vodou, and that the Loas would be the spirit, the intermediaries between God and the human being, etc. Now, if I understand Vodou a little bit correctly, each of the Loas would represent sometimes a positive aspect of nature, sometimes a negative aspect of nature, under the same features, and the dialectic between good and evil is endless in Vodou, which is very smart. Whereas in Christianity, you have this manichaeistic separation between good and evil, and the hope that good will prevail eventually. So that's already something which is difficult to put together. Regarding resurrection, for instance, I hear a lot about the Vaudouisans believing in resurrection, etc. I wonder if initiation rites may not have something to do with this. As you know, the person who is going to be initiated into a voodoo rite is supposed to keep the secret regarding the initiation. And this is like Éleusis, les rites d'Éleusis in Greek antiquity. Now, I have often thought that perhaps the person who is going to be initiated is asked to make a leap of faith, so to speak, to believe that he or she is going to die, but that he will live again. Now, of course, I don't know, but I'm just thinking. So this kind of resurrection has nothing to do with, I believe, the theological belief in resurrection in Christianity. You see, and these things are not discussed in the kind of material, apparently, you have been discussing, and this you can tell me that this is not important at the social and humane and human level, etc. And at the end, you showed very well that what is important, of course, is to help people live better, etc. But, you know, I believe that if you want to talk about interfaith dialogue, theology should come in at one point or the other.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you for this wonderful, insightful remark. Very good. Well, of course, all religions are not the same. They have they differ and they have distinctions in many regards. But there are religious patterns, or patterns we can detect in religions overall, right? But as far to common theological doctrines or common theological beliefs, I think Vodou and Christianity do share some of those theological beliefs. For example, in Christian theology, Christian theologians use the notion of God's general revelation and God's special revelation, which they argue is revealed exclusively in the person of Jesus Christ. But if we take the idea of God's general revelation is in all cultures, in all religions. No culture, no religion is the sole possessor of God's revelation. God works through in all religion to reveal himself. And the second idea is theological anthropology. Now, both in Vodou and Christianity, it is believed that human beings, right, are created in the image of God. Therefore, we have to preserve life. Life is sacred, and life is a gift from God. Even a third theological category, which also philosophical, what we call theodicy. This is a struggle in every religion. Both Vodouism and Christians have struggled to reconcile the goodness of God and the evil suffering in the world. Yes.
I was just going to ask a very simple question. The word Christianity, we know, comes from Christ-like.
Yes.
What would you ascribe as the origin or meaning of Vodou?
Oh.
That's one. The second one is, since we're comparing, Christianity has a codified text.
Yes.
In Vodou, do you also have codified texts and ways of worship? Do you have it lined up in the way the Christian religion is? And finally, I have a feeling that there's something about the Yoruba culture, because you mentioned a name that sounded very much like Oluwa.
Yes,
which
that's
is
African.
Which is a Yoruba word for one of the deities of smallpox, Shopono. But when the Christian missionaries came and they were looking for parallels, cultural parallels, they took Oluwa to mean God.
Yes.
And I think somehow it's filtered down into the Haitian Creole, and it also means God. So these are just my three.
Well, yeah, very good. The word Vodou, V-O-D-O-U-N, means spirit. It's an African word where we inherit the word concept from Fon, right? From Fon, the people of Fon. So when we talk about Vodou in the Haitian mentality, we're talking about sort of intimacy between humanity and those spirits who are said to be representative or different manifestations of the Supreme God. So, no, Vodou does not have a codified text like the Christian do, the Christian Bible, but the Vodouist tradition has been transmitted through songs, stories. In fact, Dr. Hebblethwaite, 3 or 4 years ago, published an interesting book on that subject matter. Bilingual book, Vodou songs in Creole and English. So, and also the Loire communicate to people in Vodou through dreams and possession. So they're very important. These phenomena are very important to Vodou practitioners. And also the whole notion of codified text, really, I want to talk about this quickly. It's a Western construct. A religion does not mean the sacred text to be a religion. It doesn't. In fact, Poismars in 1928 in Ainsi par la langue, thus spoke the uncle, made that argument, compelling argument. Okay? And the third question.
Loi.
Yeah. Loi, in Haitian Vodou, people use loi interchangeably with spirits. Okay. There's another term that is used. I forgot. So when it comes back, I'll let you know. Yeah. Very good question.
I have a question. Okay, so I've just noticed as a Haitian American within our community, obviously due to colonization and anti-blackness within our own community, there isn't really a need to preserve voodoo as well. So one of my first questions is, how do we as Haitians kind of make this academic conversation that we're having accessible to us as a community in order to preserve it while the two simultaneously existing together? Because, I mean, we can account as historically voodoo is very important for our culture and, necessary during the revolution as well. But we also see Toussaint, he practiced Catholicism, so it's, that duality. But where do we get to the point where, we have these discussions in truth within our community?
Well, that's a good question. Well, the people in Haiti do preserve voodoo. In fact, you go to Haiti is mostly rural, and the most practiced religion in Haiti is voodoo. It's not Christianity. Christianity is only practiced by 30% of the Haitian population. 30. Okay? And but of course, there's a scholarly discourse about voodoo, okay, which is different than what the lay person understands about the religion. Just like in Christian theology, you take a theology book, there are some theological concepts or categories that the lay people in churches have never heard before, So I think that's the separation between the academia and the common people. And of course, as you said, I mean, I think it's urgent to bridge that gap. Okay. But I'm not sure how to work it out.
Well, we are at the 5 o'clock hour. Is there any last question that anybody would like to ask? Okay, we have one last question back here. If you need to go, bon voyage. Thanks for your patience, and we can stay if you can.
I think it will be quite brief.
Yes.
I was very pleased that you critiqued the two writers, public intellectuals in Haiti, who denied or apparently ignored a place for free choice.
Yes.
And perhaps you know the work of Alain Finkielkraut,
Yes.
French public intellectual.
Yes.
La Défaite de la Raison,
Yes.
is perhaps his best book, in which he argues for two attitudes, two visions of the individual in culture, in life. One, which he calls the Eastern, or the German, and that is unfair to heaps of Germans, but historically he calls it the German, is if you are born into a certain race,
Yes.
nation,
Yes.
community, and language, they are yours, and
Yes.
you have the duty to defend and illustrate them, and you cannot do otherwise.
Yes.
And of course, the other, which he calls Western and French, which I strongly believe in, is freedom. You are free to choose your nation, your culture, ultimately your language, your entire way of life. And I think that you were touching on these issues definitely.
I think, you see, most Haitian intellectuals or religious scholars have studied in France. And so France, Canada, and of course, Germany has a huge influence not only on French intellectual development, but also in the West. Okay, everything began in Germany. Okay, yeah. So German idealism, right? With Hegel and the whole notion of culture, the whole notion of identity, right? So, and culture is equated with race. Therefore, if you're African, you have a certain culture, and that's the culture you need to embrace. You cannot do otherwise. And of course, with the development of the whole notion of freedom, which we so cherish in the West, if you have freedom, therefore, I can choose to be a bicultural practitioner, just like I am. I was born in Haiti, I grew up in Haiti, but I'm also American. My culture is not monolithic, and with globalization, everything has changed. Social interactions have changed the way we view culture, the way we view religion, and also some people would say, look, if you were born in India, therefore you have to be an Hindu, or therefore because we are Haitians, therefore we have to be, we have to be Vodouisant, or if you're a Westerner, you have to be a Christian. I think that's extremism.